think that there needs to be some honesty from the top down in the United States government about where money and opportunity is distributed, so that some of these young men and women who are in the street and doing things to each other out of frustration and desperation actually has something to lock onto. Because half of these kids that are out here in the street doing wrong, if they had somebody to look up to or somebody that gave a damn about them, or they really felt as though they had a legitimate opportunity to step outside of where they've grown up, I have to believe that they would do it. I mean, people like everybody involved in this situation is living proof of escaping all of that. I'm willing to bet all of us have had guns in our face, been cornered in the street, had to fight when you didn't want to. Maybe fighting because you used to like fighting and you used to be that dude, but at some point or another, something clicks and you realize that there's something out there in the world where you can put that energy and provide for yourself and provide for a family and actually put a positive stain on the world when you leave this place. I don't think enough people speak about the fact that just as much as it's a race thing, it's obvious who were the slaves and who were the natives and how they were treated when the colonizers arrived or quote unquote discovered this place where, how the fuck do you discover somewhere where motherfuckers already are? I cannot figure out to this day. But the things that happen to us through that are obvious, but what I think doesn't get discussed very often is the notion of class. This is a class issue that we're dealing with now. They keep throwing the term racism out there, but that's a bit of a distraction at this point. It's classism, it's elitism, it's that 1%. I don't even know if it's exactly 1%. It's the media catchphrase is the 1%, and the rest of us are the 99. Even that's bullshit. It's chopped up so much more than just two divisions. It's also not just totally black and white. What about coolie labor? What about Mexican labor? What about Brazilian labor? What about Haitian labor? What about the fact that half of the black people in America who are super romantic about Africa probably have West Indian roots? They're so busy staring at the Ivory Coast and staring at the doors of no return as if that's where they really came from. Do you know that? Can you really quantify that? If you go on Ancestry.com, are they gonna tell you the fucking truth? Who's policing the police that police those police? Until we can answer questions like that, who knows what's gonna bring about change? I know that today's form of protest, in my opinion, is kind of half-assed. More often than not, we'll ask the government for permission. We'll come out with our little signs and say what we gotta say, surrounded by a fucking police barricade. The fuck kind of protest is that? You're gonna protest against the police, and the police are surrounding you, watching you. So it's very frustrating to think about how far we've come, yet how far we still have to go. And that has to do with the understanding that the United States is an organization. People think we live in a country. We live in an organization. We live in an organization run by transatlantic corporations. That's why the president doesn't have any power. Why would the president not wipe out the entire Ferguson, Missouri Police Department and start it fresh? Why would he not do that? Can't do that because they're the henchmen for his bosses. And he was elected because he has the most compassionate, erudite voice of all the front runners in the campaigns that he was running after the biggest doofus in worldwide political history took office and made a bigger mess of everything than his father and Bill Clinton did. So put a compassionate black man who was the president of the Harvard Law Review, who speaks an impeccable version of the Queen's English in front of the world to say, this is who we are now. How convenient. I believe in the electoral process in theory, but the electoral process is over. It's a wrap. With the first and second Bush elections, it is no longer one man, one vote. With the way Bernie Sanders just got run over by the Democratic National Committee with this super delegate versus delegate thing, despite a clear and obvious win. And I'm not even saying putting my opinion out there about who's better or worse. But Bernie Sanders just got shit on by the electoral process. So I don't know. Does it work? Who does it work for? It works for the transatlantic international conglomerates that run the world. The way that we institute change in our communities is to do a better job of providing young people with a perspective on what opportunity is. I don't really believe anymore that you can give someone an opportunity. I think you have to, as a parent now, as a parent of an 8-year-old, I'm coming into my own as a father, and I believe that you have to present a child with a perspective on exactly what opportunity is, and then give them the opportunity to make the choice for positive opportunity or not. And while they're still under your roof, if they make a decision that's not quite what it should be, and not what it should be for you as a parent, what it should be for them in terms of what they tell you that they want to do, then you steer them, then you guide them, you set things in front of them to make them walk in a direction of what this thing is that you know they want because they were able to explain it to you.